Now at 5, we have another round of sleet and snow heading in our direction. I'll have those details.
Plus, allegations that a Joplin RV park is illegally dumping raw sewage. And
President Trump doubles down on his threat to Hamas and his controversial plans for Gaza. I'm Erica Brown in Washington with more on the president's demands and how some leaders in the region are responding.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
some of us could deal with treacherous driving conditions. We're expecting wintry weather in the 4 states. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, temperatures have been hovering right around the freezing mark all day long. We've dropped to 30 in Joplin. We're down to 28 in Pittsburgh. We do have a little bit of drizzle out there, so that means it would be freezing drizzle. It's very light, but it could increase a little bit, especially after dark. So still, if the roads look a little bit wet, just be careful. But upper 20s to mid 30s once you get in our southern counties. Through the evening, some freezing drizzle kind of sitting in that 30 to 32 degree range. Winter weather advisory in effect. All of us, far northern counties, winter storm warning. We are socked in with the clouds. Nothing really going on yet, but here in about 12 hours, we're going to have a big difference. But again, some very light drizzle trying to get going this evening. Let's go through time. Light freezing drizzle tonight, but things will really start to get going. You can see the light freezing drizzle, especially after about 3 a.m., picking up Kansas, Oklahoma side. In the pink, this is all sleet, mainly along and south of the I-44 corridor, then all snow. North of that, we could get a little bit of thunder snow, a little bit of thunder sleet. Periods of sleet and snow through the morning hours. The heaviest will be out of here by 9 or 10 a.m. How much are we going to get? Northern counties, all snow, so 3 to 6 inches, but most of us are going to go 1 to 3 because sleet's going to hold your mounts down just a bit, but the roads will be just as bad. So 1 to 3 inches of sleet and snow, higher if it's all snow, lower if it's all sleet. Southern counties under 1 inch. We're going to break this all down for you, all coming up here in a bit.
All right, we'll catch in a few. The Newton County Sheriff has levied or seized property from the Rocky Ridge RV Park. This comes as the city of Joplin is taking legal action against the site for allegedly connecting to the city's sewer system without permission. In a temporary restraining order granted in August, the court ruled Rocky Ridge RV Park was dumping raw sewage into the city of Joplin sanitary sewer system without consent. The judge said the park was reaping a commercial benefit without providing compensation for services. According to court documents submitted to the Circuit Court of Newton County, the city disconnected the RV park sewer connection multiple times. According to those documents, when that sewer main was excavated, it was, quote, fully collapsed with raw sewage seeping into the ground. It created a, quote, significant health hazard. KOAM reached out to the city of Joplin about this matter and has not yet received a statement. We also reached out to the RV park via their advertised phone number and have been unable to get through. Tonight on KOAM News at 10, we're going to break down the Missouri Department of Natural Resources investigation into this site and their concerns of pollution in Shoal Creek. President Trump is meeting with allies from the Middle East as he looks for new homes for Palestinians driven out of their homes in Gaza. Erica Brown is in Washington, D.C. with more details.
President Trump is re-upping his ultimatum for Hamas to release all remaining Israeli hostages or all bets are off.
I have a Saturday deadline, and I don't think they're going to make the deadline personally. I think they want to play tough guy, but we'll see how tough they are.
Hamas has put more pressure on a fragile ceasefire, saying it will delay the next hostage release, accusing Israel of violating terms of the deal. The group says Israel is preventing Palestinian refugees from returning to northern Gaza and is continuing to block humanitarian aid. On Tuesday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said fighting will resume if Hamas does not return hostages by Saturday afternoon. President Trump met with Jordan's King Abdullah II in the Oval Office today, continuing to press his plan to move Palestinians out of Gaza so the U.S. can take it over.
We're not going to buy anything. We're going to have it. We're going to keep it, and we're going to make sure that there's going to be peace, and there's not going to be any problem, and nobody's going to question it, and we're going to run it very properly.
Trump wants to redevelop Gaza and turn it into what he's called the Riviera of the Middle East. The King of Jordan reacted to the president's idea Egypt and Jordan take in displaced Palestinians.
I have to look at the best interests of my country. I think the president is very happy that we do this thing with 2,000 children as quickly as possible.
Trump suggested Palestinians would not be allowed to return to Gaza after the war-torn area is rebuilt, something many in Gaza say is unacceptable and violates international law. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
President says other Middle Eastern countries besides just Jordan and Egypt might be involved in taking in Palestinian refugees. Still ahead, a brain study putting rubber to the road.
Could the drivers of these iconic cabs hold clues to beating Alzheimer's? I'm Chapman Bell with why researchers think their brains could be key to understanding the disease.
Plus, a study that might shed some light on cognitive and behavioral issues among kids. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, young children with poorly developed social and cognitive skills tend to struggle in school as teenagers. A study published in the British Medical Journal found 16-year-olds who had cognitive and behavioral issues throughout their childhood were nearly 4.5 times more likely to not pass standard exams. The study highlights how critical early childhood development is. There's hope for kids with peanut butter allergies, peanut allergies in general. A new study by the National Institutes of Health found children with allergies who gradually ate increasing amounts of peanut butter over 18 months eventually could eat 3 full tablespoons of peanut butter without an allergic reaction. This method worked for 100% of the kids in the study, but the treatment should only be done under the supervision of a doctor. Surprising results in a study on what kind of person was more resilient during the COVID pandemic. Researchers from Oregon State University found adults with a high level of playfulness proved to be more resilient than other groups. These people were able to enjoy everyday activities, keep their sense of humor, adapt to challenging situations, and were overall more optimistic, leading to better management of stress. British researchers are turning to a famous site in London to gather ammunition in the fight against Alzheimer's. They're hoping that by studying the brains of the city's renowned cab drivers, they can learn more about how to prevent the disease. Chapman Bell has that story.
Weaving through the streets of London, black cabs and their drivers help make up the fabric of the city.
I love my job, 25 years, and I still love it. Very proud of it.
Scientists now believe these world-renowned drivers could deliver more than a pleasant journey. To get behind the wheel of one of these famous taxis, drivers must first pass an exam called the Knowledge.
Turnpike Lane Station.
Spending years memorizing hundreds of routes around more than 26,000 streets in the capital.
We will beat a sat-nav, hands down.
By shunning sat-navs and other navigational tools and relying only on brain power and memory, researchers say cabbies may be getting a profound health benefit.
What scientists have found is that the longer they've been working, the larger the posterior hippocampus becomes. But unfortunately in Alzheimer's disease, that bit of the brain actually is one of the first to start getting smaller and smaller.
Experts say that area of the brain is responsible for memory and navigation.
So it may be that the kind of skills these taxi drivers build offset them against Alzheimer's disease. If we can learn from the taxi drivers how they do this, we might be able to find ways to improve people's brain function and avoid the burden of Alzheimer's disease in the future.
The cabbie's contribution giving hope to those suffering. Chapman Bell, CBS News, London.
The Taxi Brains project, headed up by University College London, is part of an ongoing study analyzing brain scans of cab drivers to gather more research that could help scientists better understand the disease. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, gardening on the go.
Hotels are cultivating new green space experiences for guests. I'm Wendy Gillette in Baja, California, Mexico, with how gardening has taken off as a popular amenity.
Plus, we're going to break down this winter storm moving in for you coming up next. Well, of course, kind of a dreary day outside for us today. The cloudy skies, and we've had some drizzle out there over the past few hours, and we'll continue to have some light freezing drizzle as we go through the next few hours. Just be careful. I don't really expect anything too slick over the next few hours, but as we go through the night, that could get a little bit worse. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Winter weather advisory for the entire area, kind of starting later on tonight as this next storm system moves in. Just socked them in the clouds, You can see the brighter white clouds out across western Kansas. That is the beginnings of our system. Light drizzle kind of pushing through. The raindrops are so small, very hard to pick up on the radar, but that will increase, especially a little bit later on this evening. So some light freezing drizzle as we go through the night, and then here comes sleet and snow. Mainly snow north of I-44. Along I-44, sleet all the way down to about Benton County, and then Benton County is kind of a mixture of rain and sleet. Could get a little bit of thunder, snow, and sleet. Periods continue to work through, heaviest between 4 to 5 a.m. to about 8 to 9 a.m. After about 8 a.m. we go to kind of more like snow showers, but still some accumulating, and we are going to get some bands, so wherever those bands line up, that's where those heavier amounts are going to be. Once we get into the middle of the afternoon, some flurries, and then we look okay. Clearing out tomorrow night, gets cold. We drop back lower teens. We get sunshine on Thursday. Don't really go anywhere. 27, 26, 28 degrees. That's about it. All right, northern counties, you will get the most snow because you'll have all snow. 3 to 6. Most of us in this 1 to 3 inch band of sleet and snow. More snow, amounts a little higher. More sleet, a little bit lower than under an inch once you get into our southern counties. Roads, a little wet next several hours. Get a little tricky late tonight just due to some freezing drizzle. Most likely bad through tomorrow morning, back to tricky as we go through the rest of the day. 31 to start, 30 by noon. We actually drop a little bit. I think our high temp right around 33 degrees. And if you want even more, look at this. We got rain moving in Saturday, and then Saturday night we'll get another band of snow, most likely accumulating even another shot next week. Alert day tomorrow, wintry mix, heaviest in the morning. And then only 28 on Thursday, 46 Friday, 48 on Saturday with that rain to snow. So it stays really active, but yeah, the roads are going to get tricky by tomorrow morning. So be careful if you are going to be out.
Absolutely. And of course, stay in if you can, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely.
Doug, thanks. Joplin Chamber of Commerce worked with the Joplin nonprofit Bright Futures to pack some weekend snack packs for students in need. Together, they packed a total of 513 bags of snacks today. The snack packs are for the weekends when students don't have access to school lunch and breakfast. Their goal is to make sure that food insecure students don't go without a nutritious meal on the weekend.
No kid can be expected to learn, to focus, to grow if they're hungry. If they don't have enough food over the weekend and they come to school on Monday and they're hungry and they're tired, we can't expect them to be successful, and we want them to be.
Bright Futures is always looking for volunteers and donations to continue helping others. Coming up, the potential future of student loans and how loan holders should prepare. Topping today's Consumer Watch, with inflation continuing to rise and the outbreak of bird flu, egg prices have surged nearly 37% from last year. That's according to a report by NerdWallet. But how is this affecting consumers? Well, we spoke to a Carthage woman who sells eggs from her own backyard, and she says the bird flu outbreak doesn't really concern her. However, a Cherokee County consumer says she's fed up.
Usually I put the eggs out about 8 o'clock in the morning and they're sold out by 11. They're definitely a big demand right now with the prices at the stores.
The simple fact that if they don't sell, they'll smell. And that's the way it ought to be. Why these stores gouge people.
Also, according to the NerdWallet, pricing eggs too low will increase the chances of shoppers experiencing empty shelves. The U.S. Department of Education oversees $1.6 trillion of student loan debt owed by 42 million Americans. But in recent days, President Trump has talked about possibly dismantling the massive federal agency. On CBS Mornings, CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger said it's highly unlikely that the president can do that because it would take an act of Congress. But she advises borrowers to be ready in case there is a disruption with the agency's website. It's very important, she says, to be able to prove that you've been paying your loans.
I'm directing everyone go to studentaid.gov, that's the federal website, and you want to start to actually grab the screenshot of all the information that is there. So that could be the loan amount, how much you've paid in, that could be the interest rate, that could be when it's due, And I think these are critical action steps to take to protect yourself.
Jill also outlined the best practices that all borrowers should take. They include changing passwords often, using two-factor authentication, downloading records, and using auto-pay. Gardens are becoming a more important part of the hotel experience, not just to enjoy the greenery, but to eat fresh foods and take part in activities that give a taste of the relaxation gardening can bring. Wendy Gillette has more on the trend in today's Travel Tuesday.
Softer foliage like that, more water.
The host of the Netflix show Instant Dream Home, Nick Katsumpis, led a gardening workshop at One Hotel Central Park this past fall, itself a green sanctuary in New York City.
Especially post-pandemic, when you saw so many people yearning for more greenery in their lives, I'm starting to see every hotel, no matter what their focus is, really starting to try to bring more green in some kind of way into their hotel's experience.
Katsumpis partners with One Hotels nationwide for activities like pumpkin planting, carving out the seeds, and creating seasonal decor that's also therapeutic.
For me, it's definitely my form of stress relief, and I think a lot of people see that too.
New Yorker Scott Karoka has signed up a couple times.
It's fun to do these workshops, to be a little creative, get to do things that I probably wouldn't be able to do at home.
The trend has also taken root at hotels with a space to create gardens on more land, like here at Kimpton Mausoleos Resort and Spa, north of Los Cabos, Mexico. Culinary director Sandro Falbo forages from his expansive gardens throughout the 25,000 square foot property, where we stayed for a special rate, from vegetables
3 years of growing, and this year is going to be a good harvest,
to herbs and flowers.
It's like for a kid in Toys R Us, more or less. It's just the best.
He calls himself the seeds keeper, choosing what's grown to create colorful dishes like salads with more than 30 fresh ingredients.
What I love, for example, it's a tomato that has been just kissed by the sun and eaten by the guests.
The chef also uses distillation to make herbal essence water, delivered to rooms every morning.
People underestimate herbs, and people should put more herbs into the food because herbs are part of the medicinal plant.
In the spa, guests can use dried flowers and herbs to create their own aromatherapy blend, another aspect of a resort where nature stars. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Baja California, Mexico.
Gardening is also healthy. Studies show it increases exercise and improves diet, mood, and mental health. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a vulnerability at some of America's largest ports that could shut down the U.S. economy. That's tonight's Eye on America report. Then on KOAM News at 6, the latest on an effort to limit potential solar projects in Bourbon County, Kansas, plus a closer look at the effort to provide weekend snack packs for children in Joplin. And a Mount Vernon football player signs with Missouri Southern. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Hundreds of athletes, coaches, and volunteers took to the hardwood today and will again tomorrow at Pitt State. Special Olympics Kansas is holding its basketball and cheer competition. Today was the adult competitions. Tomorrow will be youth athletes. A lot of fun for everyone involved, I'm sure. Gonna have to keep your eye on Doug Hetty in the weather forecast.
Our temperatures are a little bit colder than what they should be right now. We should be at about 34, and it's actually about 30. So that's going to play a role into some freezing drizzle this evening, and then of course sleet and snow tonight. Let's go Chanute, Iola, Yates Center, Pittsburgh 3 to 6, Nevada 3 to 6, 1 to 3 of sleet and snow along the I-44 corridor. If that turns to be a little more snow, then it's going to be closer to 3 or 4 inches. Southern counties, a mixture of rain and sleet, so we're talking Benton County and also Berry County. But everybody is going to have slick roads as we go into the morning hours, and then we have another chance for snow this weekend and then also next week.
And people know or should know that even a little bit of sleet can make for treacherous driving,
Absolutely.
So they certainly need to be cautious out there. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. Let's make it a great evening.